It's been longer than I wanted it to be for this video that I've had sitting kicking in my mind for a while. Obviously, you've read the title. Right after Christmas, New Year's, I caught COVID, unfortunately, and I was fine. I was in my room and was hoping to be like, hey, this is a good time to shoot some videos. I was fine, but just got too tired. And then I was starting school, so it's been hard to fit the time in. But finally, I've done it. So I'm making this video. This for some people, this may be this is more for the guitar players here or people who are interested in how they might write for it. This might be basic info for some people, but when I was first learning playing acoustic and a lot of guitar, I was really interested in 12 string. Once I got it, I was interested in looking at a bunch of different stuff about how to use it in this context, that context. I knew how the Beatles used it and saw videos where it was being used, the acoustic, fingerstyle. And so I just want to kind of make the video that I had wished I had found about the 12-string guitar. Again, this may be basic info, but I hope it's interesting at least. Anyways, so obviously, it varies, but the most standard, you've got courses of strings, like on a mandolin. See, everything's in octaves. For the bottom 4 strings are in octaves. And the top 4 strings are just, in unison, exactly like a mandolin. And so that gives you kind of a natural coursing just for it being, it sounds thicker and bright, and also too some of the strings just being microscopically out of tune. Not like intentionally, but just it's never going to be quite the same, even just because you strike a little differently. It gives you that kind of shimmery kind of feel. And so if you're doing like an acoustic rhythm part, it's great to use alone. It can thicken a mix if you're doing a singer-songwriting thing, or if you want to, for example, if you wanted to double it with regular acoustic guitar, or I like it, can sound interesting in a mix underneath like a heavy guitar, but you can just kind of play like an acoustic rhythm part. I'll play that snippet, chord fragment again, it's like, what's that, E minor, G, D, C, and I think it's really interesting too. It gives you, just for your rhythm parts too, it can be interesting, as it would with anything, but the open strings are real nice, so I like to, add in those drones as often as I can, or like, the version of the Fire on the Mountain by the Grateful Dead, where it's like a, so instead of just B to A, which still sounds good, all you do is take off your first finger and let everything else ring out. Maybe not the E quite so much, but same thing. You get like I'm So Glad by the Cream, popularized by Cream, Or something too, like, my bastardized version, how I accidentally learned it, of How Soon Is Now, by the Smiths, where you got basically just this chord. The open strings give you some interesting things. Also too, depending on your vocal ranges, it can be just nice to fill out what you're playing underneath. So, I've done it on that Fish song, Wolfman's Brother, the telephone, I'm forgetting the chords. When the telephone was ringing, handed it to Liz, wrong chord. Also too, I've got some notes here about what I want to talk about. Again, the high G is fun to do some bluesy stuff or solos. But what you want to keep in mind is that the G, the octave above the G, is actually higher than your open strings. So if you're playing, for example, I don't know, just open E chord, the highest note is no longer the E on top. The highest note is actually now the G sharp in the middle. So if this is your normal top, you got this is actually the middle of the chord. You know. You know. So that can sound very cool for chords. Not quite so much. And it can sound cool for, lead lines, but you want to be careful because it changes the shape of your lines so that instead of going up, they might actually be going down. So like a normal sounding on a guitar, just like a blues lick, sounds good, but technically the high note again in the phrase is here, which is higher than this. But, if done, like Leadbelly played a lot of that kind of stuff, the 12-string blues, so you just gotta be careful how you use it. A good example too, like solo 12-string guitar that does makes a good use of all, harmonics, open strings, everything. The Weather Report, the jazz fusion group, their song "The Moors," Moors, features the studio version features about a minute and a half of Ralph Towner, great classical jazz guitarist, just great guitarist, doing an intro on 12-string, and it's beautiful. Rings out. Again, depending on how good your 12-string is, this one's just meh. But you want to have stable tuning, and so if you have something where you have a lot of open strings, like we were just talking about it with Ralph Towner, or even just the strummed chords, you get a couple of strings out of tune, it's even more than 6-string. It'll really sound bad. So, how I like to do it, my process for keeping anything in tune, 12-string, is all the thick strings. So I'd go tune up E, then A, then D, then G, and then all the unison strings. Then I'll do the octave strings, and then the top strings again. Then I'll repeat until usually I'll repeat the bottom strings, then adjust the top strings one more time, and by that time it's usually okay. Play a few chords. You can tell if it's close. It'll be amplified on 12-string. But the other thing you want to keep in mind too is that, again, there's a lot of stuff that on 6-string, you can play with a nice 12-string, depending on what you have, up above the 12th fret, it starts to get, because you're holding it down all the strings at once, just like it was, a normal guitar, but depending on how your action is, that can be difficult. Let's see, one of the last things, a couple of things more I want to talk about. You can really use it, something I discovered, you can use it to emulate like a Middle Eastern or like Balkan music kind of sound, which I have used the guitar in this context. Again, it's my bastardized version of it, but you can do something like, especially if you want to combine it with a low drone, you can have something like this is just the average Western person's Eastern music, but it'll work as an intro to a tune or for jamming out on a chord, something like this. Went up there, you gotta be careful. Oh, or you have something too, let's you can approximate, combining blues and Eastern motifs is real fun. Or, there's the song from The Witcher, The Witcher 3, the game, Steel for Monsters. It's like, let's see, I think it's... But you get the gist. It's a lot of fun for that kind of... It's also a lot of fun to take really low. Your Leo Kottke play like in C sharp standard a lot, and his 12 strings are they're huge. They're way bigger than jumbo. Well, not way bigger than jumbos, but they're very large. And I'm not really a finger picking guy in general. I like it. I'm still working on it, but it's not really my thing at the moment, and it's difficult. Flat picking even it can be difficult to hit. If you want to hit just one specific thing, and so again, because we're trying to hit both strings at once, usually we're not wanting to pick out just one with our finger. We kind of want to like brush past it, but you don't want to hit any extra. It's difficult, but there's the finger picking aspect. Listen to 6 and 12 string guitar and Mudlark by Leo Kottke especially. You'll hear a lot of it there. I believe that the Trey Anastasio does a solo version of Time Turns Elastic on the acoustic guitar. I think it's live from his studio. You can find it on YouTube. I think it's on a 12 string. I could be wrong. But that's an interesting, that's another way. Or John Butler's The Ocean. There's lots of people to listen to. So I'm just kind of giving it for that kind of thing. I'm just giving a general overview. Anyways, but in regards to tuning the 12 string low, it sounds beautiful. I often like to keep this one in C sharp all the way across, like this song that I was playing here. Usually is in C sharp, so it's down. And the main thing with that is it's a headache, because if it's hard enough to get the 12 string that's just out of tune into tune, tuning everything down and then getting it to stable is even more difficult. And so how I like to do it is basically just get everything to approximately the right pitch. I don't care about double checking, because it's going to change the tension so much. Everything is going to go out. You're going to strum, and notes are going to be a ways away from where you left them. But it's a lot of fun to experiment. Open tunings are a lot of fun too. I would say it's a lot of fun too. This one is an acoustic electric. It's an electric 12 string. You can do some fun. It can sometimes be underwhelming plugging in an electric 12 string, or acoustic electric and be like, I'm gonna put on distortion to sound crazy. With enough distortion or effects, it just kind of starts to sound like 12 string. But there's a lot of electric 12 string fun. I don't currently have one that's just a plain electric 12 string, but all you got to do is listen to like Hard Day's Night, Help, a lot of Beatles for Sale. That's some, I think. Yeah, it does. Lots 12 string, or 8 Miles High by Roger McGuinn, and some modern stuff has some too. I think. What's the guy's name? The lead singer from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard uses one, albeit a modified one. But again, that's a lot of fun too. But we're kind of just thinking acoustic. So again, to wrap it up, it's fun to go low. Careful with your tuning and how you pick. It can be used to approximate Middle Eastern kind of sounds. You can mix in blues. It'd be good for doubling or creating an acoustic rhythm part, or for playing under your own playing. And finally, or your own singing, sorry. And finally, you want to be just cognizant of that high 12 can change up your melody line. So if I had to give just like 3 acoustic 12 string pieces that I think are really influential, can kind of teach you where you can go with it, I would probably pick, there's so many of them, but I would definitely pick, again, the Moors. It's by Weather Report, but it's featuring Ralph Towner. Just a virtuosic 12 string used in a style it's not usually used. Lots of styles with lots of single note soloing, like jazz, where you want the guitar to not always stick out as much as we guitar players would like to. That high G can sometimes mess up. And again, mostly only plays it solo on that track. So anyways, the Moors, Weather Report. I would pick, what's it called? Jack Fig by Leo Kottke off 6 and 12 string guitar. He uses metal finger picks, goes crazy fast. It's a lot of fun. Just kind of shows what you can do. And finally, probably, oh man, that third one, there's a lot of things tied. Probably, let's see. I would probably do something, just about anything from the Lead Belly catalog. How'd You Sleep Last Night or something. Or not, that's the beat. Where'd you see? The Pines. The one that Kurt Cobain covered. That for like a strummy or bluesy kind of thing. And again, you can just listen to Balkan folk music, see what they're doing. A lot of that strings are in courses, and you can kind of approximate it. Not always the same because of how we have the equal temperament frets, but you can approximate it. So, anyways, that's kind of rambly, but I've had that kicking around in my brain for a while, and so I hope that that's helpful to some people. I know that, my editing, I kind of think is kind of fast and loose. I'm still kind of figuring out exactly how I want my style of things to be, but I hope that's helpful to at least one person. And if it is, then I've done, even if it's just one, I've done my job. So thanks so much, guys, and see you in the next one. Who knows what it'll be?